What up, what up, what up? You know the vibes. Let's go. What's going on, yo? What's going on? How's everybody doing? 12:33 here on the East Coast, 12:33 a.m. here on the East Coast. I was like, man, let me hop on here, man, see what my people doing on the late night. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to King COA. Yo, what's good? Big shout out to Round One. What up? What's going on? Brandon Jackson, salute. What's good, champ? Roby, yo, what's good, my guy? Talk to me, man. Talk to me. Spar and love it. We in here. That's what it is. You already know. Round one said hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? I don't never ask nobody to like anything, but yeah, hit that like button. Karma, what's up, coach? What's good? Talk to me, man. How y'all doing tonight? You know what I'm saying? Corbin Phoenix, we in that thing. We in that thing. What's good? South Florida in the building. Big shout out to South Florida, man. You know I love South Florida. You know what I mean? The girls always training, coach. That's what's up, man. You gotta always train. You gotta train. You think the Philly shell is good in the amateurs? Nah. Depends who's using it, man. But you know, most cases, not so much because amateurs don't know how to use it yet correctly. You know what I'm saying? Nebraska in the house. What's going on? MMA Junkie. What's good? No Farias. Farias, I say that right? What up, coach? What's good, baby? So what's up, man? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. You know I love these Q&As. You know, I feel like sometimes when it's just me here talking to y'all, we get a lot done. We're productive. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when I got other people, it's dope too because you hear me conversing with other people. But when I'm talking directly to you guys, sometimes I feel like we're a little bit more productive. We actually can get more questions answered, and we actually can do some stuff. So let's do something, man. Oh, and for the record, you already know the CA powwow is still at 75%. I know I said I was going to cut it off. Yo, it's so hard for me to cut off the 75%. I got so many emails like, yo, Coach Ant, don't get rid of the 75%. Just give me a few more days. I'm going to get my dollars together. I'm going to pick up a course. All right. I read the emails. I'm going to leave it out there a little bit longer. CA Power Hour, 75% off for my people out there. You know, I appreciate y'all. So what's going on, man? Let's see, man. What kind of, I also liked it when you guys came on here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead, put the link. You feel me? And all I ask is that you show your face if you're going to click that link. I'm not into talking to the black screen. If you want to come and holler at me and talk to me right now, click the link, show your face, make sure it's lit up. You feel me? And you can ask me a question. And we can talk just like this. You feel me? So I'm going to put the link in there. You want to go ahead and, click it. Let's see who hops in here. What's up with the Fury? Yo, good point. Fury and Wilder pushed back, disappointed. I should bring in somebody to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? I should bring in somebody to talk about that. Seeing my man wanna get on here. You know what I'm saying? That I might have to bring somebody in here for to keep me up to date. But for right now, let's keep these Q and A's in. And when we do these Q and A's, I'm gonna give you one question. After that, we're gonna keep the show rolling. So you know what I'm saying? Get your question out and let's get to it. What's going on, champ? Talk to me.
1 second. Give me 1 second. Sorry. How's it going? What's up?
I'm good, man. So talk to me, champ. What's on your mind?
I got a fight this Saturday.
Okay.
Amateur.
First fight, second fight, third fight. What kind of?
It's my third fight. Wait, no, fourth fight.
You're at your fourth fight.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up? What's your weight?
What's up?
What's your
weight? I'm fighting at 156.
156.
Yeah.
All right. So how you feeling?
What was that?
How you feeling? You feeling good? You feeling?
I'm feeling good. I got a quick question about making weight though. So I'm supposed to weigh in at 156. I'm like 160 right now, 162. But like, it's not a big deal if I go in like 2 over because I just got to be a couple pounds within, right? So I'm trying to ask you because I fight Saturday. Today's Thursday. What do you think the best way for me to make weight is without like, being too dehydrated? Because I don't want to go in there with no energy.
Should it be somewhat? Shouldn't it be around 5 pounds?
I think it's different. Some people say 8 pounds. It just depends.
So it seems like you're already in that area of weight.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have an issue because you're not fighting in a tournament, right? You're just fighting in a local show.
Yeah, that's true. I'm worried my guy might weigh in less than 156. That's why. Because if he weighs in that happened my last fight, and they had to switch me opponents because I was supposed to be fighting at 152. I weighed in at 156, and then my guy for some reason weighed in at like 147. So then, yeah,
that's something you can't really control. You know what I mean? You're gonna hope that the guys, that you're supposed to fight on your weight class. I wouldn't worry too much about it in this situation because you're in a situation where you don't have to make weight. So what I would do is I just wouldn't eat like an a-hole tomorrow. I probably wouldn't eat like that tonight. I probably would. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would be mindful of the beverages. I would try to stick to water. I wouldn't be chugging 2-3 gallons of water. You know what I mean? I would just eat as I need to.
Okay.
And just get ready to fight, man, and focus on the fight, man. Tomorrow you shouldn't really be training too hard. Just shadow box, keep yourself loose. You know what I'm saying?
You think I should train tomorrow or just I was just gonna do a light run.
No, we never trained the day before the fight. For amateur fights, typically we just shadow box a little bit. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
If you want to run, that's up to you. I usually just have my guys rest and shadow box, and that's it. And no hitting of any bags or anything like that because we don't want to risk any injury or anything.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's cool.
So that's it, man. I wouldn't overthink it, man. Good luck to your fight, and I want you to come back in and let me know how you did.
For sure.
Back on here next week.
Yo, you should shoot me a follow on Instagram if you're cool with that.
Shoot me a DM. Put your Instagram in the comments so everybody else can see it too. Everybody follow my man Abdullah.
Hey,
and shoot me a DM, brother. I got you. All right.
Appreciate it. Hey, have a good day.
No problem. All right, King COA. What's up, champ? Talk to me.
Not much. How's it going, dude?
Good, man.
I love the content.
I'm happy to see that you guys are actually pulling up in here. You know what I mean? What's up? Talk to me.
Yeah. So I actually just recently found this channel, and I got 2 kind of questions. Do you want the short one instead of the longer one, and then we'll give everyone time to pop through?
We're gonna say pause. You know what I'm saying on that real quick. We're gonna say pause, but yeah, give me the more complicated question.
Oh, you want the complicated one?
Yeah, give me the complicated one.
All right. So my goal was I'll give you a little bit of background, like a real short background. I got trained for a few months. I was this really pretty chunky, out of shape kid, and that's what got my feet in the waters. I got to train some boxing at a local MMA gym with a little bit from a PFL fighter that I won't name just for location reasons. And since then, I realized that I actually have this huge passion for it, and I just want to learn a lot about it. But with the pandemic setting me back a couple years, is there any sort of realistic way that I can, in this next 1 year to year and a half, be some sort of assistant coach or corner help just to learn the world of boxing a little bit before I go off to college and whatever happens?
So your interest is more in coaching than fighting.
I love it, dude. I'm a brainiac for this stuff. I love learning it.
Well, my suggestion to you would be, how old are you?
I'm 17 now, so
I would go through the process of a boxer. So, with that being said, I would be a complete student right now. You're 17 years old, you're young, you got your whole life ahead of you. You can be a coach. Let's just say you become a coach in 5 years, right? Let's just say 18, 19, 20, 21. You will be 22 years old. You will be an extremely young coach. I started coaching at almost 30 years old. Okay. And I'm just now getting to the OG ages of coaching per se. I was considered the young coach from 30, 31, 32, 33, all them years. You feel what I'm saying? So if I was you, I would, for one, train. For two, spar. Try to get some rounds in. Try to see what it feels like. So when you're giving instructions to a fighter, you're able to understand where he's coming from. You're young enough to do it. Now you have older guys who are older who want to become coaches, or they're injured, or something happened in their life where they can't physically box, so they become coaches. Then I would say find a really good coach and study him and be his understudy, and let him guide you. But for you, why not at least see what a fighter goes through? Jump rope, hit the bag, hit the mitts, get exhausted, do conditioning, spar, maybe pick up a few amateur fights, see what that feels like. So when you become a coach, you can elaborate the information better. See, I was an amateur boxer. I never turned professional, but I was going to turn professional. So my situation is a situation where I have bring experience. I think that will bring you more value in the long run, if that makes sense.
Yeah, appreciate it, Coach. I'm working on getting my first car, and that's my goal pretty much. That's what I'm planning on doing throughout this whole school year and everything. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, just go through the process, because when a fighter says, how do you deal with fear? How do you deal with this injury? How do you deal when you're getting tired? You can be like, you know what? I've been there. I felt that. Now, even if you don't go pro, that's okay. The fact that you understand it from a fighter's perspective is going to give you an advantage. So I just think that if you're 17 years old, this is the perfect time for you to go through that process.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, champion. What's the other question?
So I know somebody at the start asked about Philly shell and amateurs, and I agree with you on that. It's a little bit complex, but I had kind of the reverse that question. What about that textbook high guard, the first thing you learn at a super pro level? Do you think that that's something people should always have on lockdown?
I think that is very valuable. I mean, if you watch guys like back in the day, guys like Ike Corte and Winky Wright, these guys fought out of a very high guard, and they were able to catch all the shots. Like, you got to understand that the Philly shell, is crafty and as good of a style it does require certain athletic abilities. So I wouldn't recommend it as something that you just give to anybody. I believe that this right here is more for the average guy, easier for the average guy to pick up. So we want to do something that's going to be better for the masses overall, which is a high textbook. Right hand comes, I catch. Left hook comes, I catch. Right jab up the middle. Now, rolling shoulders exposes the tempo, or the timing is off, and the right hand can slide to the chin before you're able to turn the shoulder quick enough. And if you don't have upper body movement and those kind of crafty techniques, then it might not be beneficial for you. So I would suggest that everybody learns this first, and based off of your natural abilities, we'll make a decision if a Philly shell might suit you. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't just jump into a Philly shell because I believe that the Philly shell is a little bit more complex and is a lot more dangerous. And if you're not prepared for it, you can actually get really, really hurt working out of a Philly shell, so to speak.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
All right, my man. Good talking to you.
You have a great one.
All right. Dope questions, man. Yeah, guys, the Philly shell is something that I get asked about a lot because, I do sell it on my website, the Philly shell system. And that's why I decided to make that course, is because it's a course that I try to explain how to learn it and how to work it. But at the end of the day, man, you have to be very careful because you got to understand when you're fighting out of that Philly shell with that lead hand being low, you're exposing your chin. I understand that, most people understand, you know what I'm saying, that the chin is supposed to be about on the shoulder, but a lot of guys get hit on the top of the head, and including some of the greats. If you watched James Toney, he used to get hit on the top of the head quite a bit, and a lot of guys who fight out of the show get hit on the top of the head. So it was a dangerous style. You have to have really good upper body movement with the shoulder roll to be really, really good at a Philly shell. I got a super chat here. Errol Spence Jr. is the best example of fundamentals. Errol Spence Jr. is a very good boxer, very fundamental. So I have nothing bad to say about that comment that you have right there, man. What you guys thinking, man, about this Errol Spence? What you guys think about this Errol Spence Manny Pacquiao fight, man? Let me know what you guys are thinking, man. And if anybody else wants to come in here, man, I already told you guys. This is for you guys. You know what I mean? I'm here to chop it up with you guys. I'm here to answer your questions. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is a very complex sport. It's very easy, but at the same time, and big shout out to you, Ryan Steele. Appreciate the super chat, by the way. Boxing is very easy and difficult at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But what you come to learn to realize is when you're actually boxing, it doesn't seem easy. Got my man KP here. KP, talk to me, baby.
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on?
I'm
Hey,
cool.
I'm gonna have to mute something, man, because it's like a delay. I'm not sure. I've never done it.
Can't hear you. You press the mute button. Mute button, champ. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I could.
Okay. Yeah, there was a delay on it. Yo, so check it out. My question to you was, so what's going on with the Ocho Cinco?
Man, listen, that Ocho Cinco thing, I personally truly believe that Ocho Cinco just said that, not knowing who he was speaking to.
Yeah.
And I think that at the same time, even if I was just a reporter, I don't really believe that he really wanted to fight me as the reporter guy. I think he just wanted to sound funny for the people on stage and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing he didn't realize is that he just I'm a guy that I'm okay with what he said. You know what I'm saying? I'm with that. You know what I mean? So
you with that time.
Ocho Cinco had a legendary football career. I commend him. I tip my hat, whatever you want to say. Give him props for stepping in the boxing ring and showing people that if you want to try something, no matter your age, you can do it. And he didn't look bad. He looked good. He got dropped.
But he would look nice jumping around that ring.
He had good footwork. He was working his jab. He was doing his thing. So I got no negative or ill will toward Ocho Cinco. But if he wants to give me that opportunity, man, I'm with it. You feel me? Like, I'm with it. You know what I mean? I'm in the gym every day. You know what I mean? I'm a little overweight right now. I don't really want to take my shirt off in public television. I'll do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? For that check, I'll be more than glad. You know what I mean? But other than that, though, big shout out to Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, definitely, man. For real. Hats off, because it take a lot of courage to get up in there, and you dealing with somebody that's a combat, like sort of like a veteran. So that's what's up.
Yeah. You can't, yeah, I can't be mad at him. He said what he said. I said what I said, and I ain't gonna lie, I was pressing a little bit, but I was trying to bring a little excitement to that press conference. He was sitting in the corner. He wasn't getting no play. You know what I mean? I decided, you know what? Let me spice some stuff up, and
Yeah.
it went viral. It did what it was supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. I was thinking like, man, like you. I mean, I've been watching your videos and shit, and like putting, practicing some of the shit that you do, like with my son, so I was like, when I seen that, I said, oh shit, CA, what the fuck? Hell yeah, get up in there, get up in there.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool, man. But yeah, let's see. Another question, man. I like that I got. Like, okay, around my way, it seemed like they charge out the ass. You know what I'm saying, for like boxing lessons or like any kind of combat sport lessons. I mean, pretty much like pretty much rich kids is gonna know how to how to fight, but like regular niggas is just gonna have the reply I guess rely on regular street skills. But I was gonna say, like, how does somebody that like ain't got a lot of bread, how did they get their kid, kind of worked in, especially when they kind of young?
You got options. I mean, I don't know what town you're in, but a lot of cities have PAL programs, and you can look into them to see if they're doing some kind of a boxing PAL program. The police athletic league, you got community centers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I came up in one. You know what I mean? I came up in the PAL, the community center, and for a long time, I actually was part of it. I didn't pay anything. It was absolutely free. So, even if you have to look into some of these PALs, you might have to travel a little bit to get to one. But
Yeah,
if finances is an issue,
the travel is the cost.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I would definitely go that route. We're
Mhm.
in the internet era. See, I learned how to box in the era when there was no internet. So I didn't have access to a Coach Anthony boxing or these courses that I saw. I didn't have access to that. Had I did, I probably would have invested into it, invested time into watching the free videos. I got a lot of free videos on there that you can pick up on and stuff like that. But for the most part, man, you would have to try to find a PAL, some kind of a recreational center to try to put your kid in.
Okay, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I never heard that before, so that's really good advice. I appreciate that, man. I don't want to hold you up. I was going to say, man, I really, I really, I'm appreciative of like, the information you put out and the work you put in. So, I mean, if something high visibility like an Ocho Cinco come or whatever it may be, man, you know what I'm saying, like you definitely deserve that shit. That's the reason why I was extra hype about that shit. So, you're doing your thing, man. I know it come from a good place, so I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, man. I do it for guys like you who actually pay attention to what I'm doing, man. So salute to you as well, my brother.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Shit, I don't want to hold you up, man. Let some other folks get in there, man. But yeah,
See
yeah.
you,
All
bro.
right, man. All right, peace.
Cool, man. Another cool dude, man. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead and put this on here. I don't know where it is. I see you, Super Chat. I see you. Much respect, Coach Anthony. You versus Jake Paul. How do you beat him? All right, so big shout out to Ryan Steele with the Super Chat. How do you beat Jake Paul? I tell you what, for Jake Paul, you got to be in shape because the kid's in shape. He's showing that he's taking boxing very seriously. A lot of people right now are going to disregard Jake Paul because he's a YouTuber and he's like a Nickelodeon type of a dude. So when you see a guy like that, you're like, come on, man, are you serious? But what you have to remember is that he's physically in shape. He's got a lot of money, so he's paying for good training. He's taking training serious. And boxing isn't just about like, how thorough you are, how tough you are, so to speak. Man, it has to do with the work that you're putting in the gym. I could get a cold-blooded gangster from the hood right off the street. If he's smoking weed all day, drinking Hennessy all day, and he ain't training, he gonna get his ass whooped by Jake Paul. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's all about how much effort are you putting into this. So if I was going to fight Jake Paul, I'm going to get a nice shape and I'm going to use my fundamental skills, my brain, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take him to school, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I would still take the physical training aspect of boxing serious when you're boxing anybody, because at the end of the day, this is a sport. You can get tired. You can get clipped with a shot. A lot of variables here. It's not just about if you were a YouTuber or TikToker or whatever. You saw Floyd Mayweather was having not issues, but he had to overcome advantages that Logan Paul had, even though Logan Paul is a YouTuber. Like, he shouldn't have went 8 rounds with Floyd, so to speak, but dude was way bigger than Floyd. Floyd had to be like, God damn, this dude's stronger than I thought. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, you got to get in shape when you want to box a guy like that. I know I just ranted on this, but yeah, Coach Anthony beats Jake Paul, but I got to be in shape. You feel what I'm saying? Bring my man Joel's in here. What's going on, champ?
Hey, what's up, Coach Anthony? How you doing, man?
I'm cool, my brother.
Man, like, I just love the chat and everything, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. Like, the whole YouTube thing, like with the boxers, like Ocho Cinco coming in, man. Like, I think that's like a huge thing for like so many athletes, even athletes that ain't professional. You know what I'm saying? Because like everybody can just come in, like, and show what they do and their skills and everything too. You know. Yeah, I think that'd be huge.
I think it's dope in a lot of ways. Like, you know, it's unfortunate. See, the biggest problem that people have is like, you got these guys making so much more money than professional boxers, getting so much more limelight than professional boxers. And it's unfortunate. And trust me, I feel the fighters' pain. But these guys also put a lot of effort into marketing themselves before they became, you know, boxers or whatever you want to call them. So they bring something to the table. You feel what I'm saying? They bring a fan base. They bring attention. They bring something to the table. They're just not coming and eating without bringing something. They're bringing a lot of new eyes to the sport. So it's like boxers, you know, you need to understand that, you know, things are changing and we have to adapt with the times. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people low-key hate on me because I do YouTube instructionals and I teach them. And you got these guys like, oh, man, he's just teaching on YouTube. I'm like, listen, what I'm doing is I'm utilizing modern-day technology to go ahead and do something that I love to do. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, in return, I get people like you who watch my stuff or you're here talking to me. And a lot of these guys who don't think with that mentality, they're stuck in the past. They don't like it, but yo, things change. We got to keep up with the times.
Exactly. Because like, you know, with so much technology now, like, you know, you got individuals that teaching Taekwondo, they teaching French martial arts like Savate, which is focused on like, you know, kicking, and they use sturdy shoes. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, the same way you use in boxing, like you use a right jab if you're a southpaw, and the lead hand be the left. Is the same way with Savate. You know, you use your legs and all this stuff. And then like, you know, and then you got those who like incorporate all these different martial art ancient skills and be able to mix it all up for advantage, especially in boxing. Like, you could take footwork from other martial arts and incorporate it in professional boxing or underground. You know, it's just a lovely art. You know what I'm saying? Especially when like individuals can just like, you know, use music to like, you know, train like when they doing shadow martial arts or shadow boxing. You know what I'm saying? And like they be able to incorporate their movements and like, you know, the opponent they gonna face on fight day. And like, you know, when you see them on fight day, you know, you can see the whole new movement and, you know, a whole bunch of new styles be made by all these professionals. And like, you know, we get like new greats that just like, you know, becoming to be established in the whole program. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, like, man, especially those who incorporate like a lot of the 52 blocks. And like, you know, that's like very helpful, like anywhere too, man. Like, so it's like amazing how all these martial arts skills, like especially in boxing, has like came a long way, you know, all the way up to now. And like, you know, you get so much inspiration from new individuals, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, at once upon a time, like, you know, we had styles like, you know, like the peekaboo style, you know what I'm saying? People that like fight with their hands down, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff used to be new. And now it's get more advanced and advanced, like, you know, whoever decides to pick up where it was left off. And like, that's just the beauty of it, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's why I enjoy watching it, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. But the game's going to constantly evolve and everybody's going to learn from each other. And I'm sure there's things that other martial arts are doing that, you know, I mean, I'm not a big martial arts guy myself, but I understand that it's something to respect. And those guys do their own thing for their own sport. And, you know, boxing, is a martial arts, so to speak, in its
For
own
real.
respect. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's learning from each other, and as time goes on, right, we keep getting better, hopefully. Even though if you go back in history, you'll see guys back then doing some stuff that we don't do anymore that we probably should. And you watch some of these boxers from, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, especially my favorite era, the mid to late 80s, 90s, and
Right.
2000s. Some of these guys are doing stuff that these modern day boxers need to go back in time and actually learn from, as opposed to us teaching them. Because sometimes arts get lost, right? They call it a lost art because things
Hmm.
evolve so much, but then you actually end up losing some of the beauties of the sport. So it's just, it works both ways. You feel me? But
Exactly.
yeah, man, I
And
got
it
somebody
good.
else. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, like before I leave, man, I was like when you spoke on the Lars art, man, like that brought me to my memory, man, because like back in the day, like 1990s and like early 2000s, you had people like Prince Nassim, Mark Antonio Barrera, who else, man, Eric Morales. They all had styles, especially Emmanuel Augustus.
Imagine those guys fighting today.
They'll be way popular, man. They'll be
Imagine,
huge.
imagine Sugar Ray Leonard fighting today. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Imagine Roberto Duran fighting today. So it's like, even though guys evolved, some of these
Right.
older guys, if they were here today, they would still be very successful. You feel me? Because
Exactly.
it reminds me of hip hop. Like when I listen to rap music now, and I listen to rap music from the golden era, in my opinion, which was like the late 90s, early 2000s type, for lyrics at least. You can like the new style of music and be like, yo, you an old head. But I'm talking about just lyrics for lyrics. Back
Right.
in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had real golden era lyricists that will live on forever as the best lyricists. You feel me? And it's like, the game went like another direction. And even if you like the beats better, even if you like the music better now, the lyricist side of hip hop is a lost art, so to speak. When you see where it was at one moment, you know what I mean. You always have that one little
Exactly.
moment where it's just like, damn, that was the golden era. Like all those
For
motherfuckers were
real.
good. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly. For real, man.
that's
Cause
how I
shit.
feel about boxing. I feel like there was a time where everybody was good in boxing. Now it's just like you kind of could just pick out, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, we got Canelo. But back then it was like an abundance of just like every gym had somebody who was good. Everybody was good. Every area, every city. You go to New York, you had a bunch of good fighters. You go to Philly, bunch of good fighters. You go down to Florida, bunch of good fighters. Cali. Now it's kind of like more spread out because I believe that has to do with the fact that we have more options. People back then chose boxing because that was a way out. Now guys got the internet, guys got YouTube, guys got other. They're like, man, I ain't getting punched in the head, man. Forget that. You feel me? Like I'll
Right.
I'll start my rap career right in the privacy of my own home. You feel me? I don't even got to go to the studio anymore. So it's different.
Indeed. You know what I'm saying? Cause like shit, that's a good point you brought up because like, it's just like music, like, I could relate to that because I do music myself, you know what I'm saying? Cause like my music channel is like called Culture 21, the music channel. So I have a whole bunch of like different genres of music that I make, you know what I'm saying? Like, going back in time from like 1980s all the way up to now, especially all these different countries. So when you talk about boxing, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these good teachers.
Yo, make sure y'all follow my man Joel's and his music career for the record, man. You know what I'm saying? Put your stuff in there. Everybody who's in the chat, man, let's try to make this a community. I would love to see y'all pop in here regularly, talk to each other, build a community. That would be super dope to me. So make sure y'all support my guy. Follow him, follow them back. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's how you network. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, it's like a whole family here. This like a brilliant thing that you do. Like, do a whole live pop up and like everybody come in. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, this is good, man. Shit,
Yeah.
I'll be chatting with y'all more like when y'all do more live streams for sure, man.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is
gonna
crazy.
definitely do it, man. I got my man Prince waiting on me, so I'm gonna pull him in here. But thank you so much for chiming in. Leave all your information so everybody can keep up with you. You heard?
All right, man.
Thank you, brother. Another dope Another dope appearance in here. Let's go ahead and bring my man Prince in here. What's good, champ?
Yes, sir, Coach Anthony. This is Prince coming to you live from Canada. Hey, Coach, man, I just gotta say, like, haters, no haters, man, ain't nobody, absolutely nobody doing it like you. Like, major props, man. I can't even, like, my words can't fully express the gratitude. For years, man, I've been following you. I see how you're on it. Like, that passion it's a once in a lifetime thing. I know everybody on this chat realizes what you've done for boxing. Like, you're a hero, man. You're a legend to me as far as I'm concerned. So just major props to you, Coach, on that front. I'm like, opportunity to holler at you like this right now, man. Like, this is a privilege. Like, I was on, like, yo, Coach A's on. I could talk to him right now. Like, thank you. Can't say enough. Yeah, Coach, I'm gonna
I
keep it.
appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Major
Before you continue, thank you for that.
Yes, sir. The haters gonna hate anyway. Like, the way I figure is, like, would they rather you not do anything at all? You feel me? Like, they gotta realize, Coach, boxing is international. It's just not in the States. Like, you got the whole world watching you. So it's like, you're not gonna be flying out to countries teaching people in their own gyms or having them come over to the States. I mean, the people that have the means to do it, they certainly can. But other than that, we love the resource of being able to go on YouTube, everything you've been teaching us out there, my man, Fast Eddie, all the videos you've been putting out, tutorials, you know what I'm saying? The live chats, the workouts during COVID, it just goes on and on. The creativity, man. Like, Coach, I see you, man. I really, really see you for real. We're extremely appreciative. I actually, yes, sir. I got inspired and I got into boxing just from watching your videos. And I'm an amateur fighter. Been boxing for about a year. COVID hit heavy in Canada. Like, you guys, you're kind of free in the States. Over here, it's like total lockdown. So there's something called the Brampton Cup. It's the second largest amateur tournament in North America. I actually won it at heavyweight, and I was just getting my amateur career started. Then, the whole COVID situation hit, and that was the end of that. So, I haven't fought since then. Been training, been keeping in shape, and I really would love an opportunity to come to the States and train with you, man. Like, if there was a way to make that happen, if I can DM you or inbox you, and you can just give me info on that, I'd really appreciate it. But that's by the side. When I came up, I'm fighting over here. I fought in a gym where we were taught southpaw and orthodox at the same time coming up. And my question to you, I guess, would be for other people watching this that might be able to gain some information from that. What would you recommend a fighter do? Learn southpaw and orthodox at the same time, or go with their dominant hand first, kind of master it, and then learn less dominant? What would you say to that?
That's a good question. I always had this conversation with people when I asked them, do you think that fighters should learn both stances from the very beginning? And I never done that with a fighter. So I'd be lying to you if I said that I taught both sides from the very beginning. I do it the way I was taught, which was I build them. If they're a southpaw, I teach them southpaw. If they're a lefty, I should say, I teach them southpaw. And if they're a righty, I teach righty. I'm very comfortable teaching both. So I don't have an issue of, oh, he's a lefty, but I don't know how to teach lefty, so let me convert him to orthodox. Because you see, a lot of guys, that's why they became orthodox fighters back in the day. A lot of trainers didn't know how to teach southpaw, so they would convert them into orthodox. You see what I'm saying? Me, I'm comfortable teaching both. But I'm not opposed to teaching both from the very beginning. Honestly, I've always flirted with the idea of saying, why not learn both? It makes sense that if you want a guy to develop in both stance from the very beginning, that you would spend the time to teach it to him. But I've never done it myself before. So if that makes sense, I'm not against it, but I can see how if a trainer's patient and if a trainer's willing and if the fighter's capable, that it could be very effective.
Yes, sir.
If that makes sense to you.
Of course, it certainly does. Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate you saying that. Just got a couple more questions. Who's your favorite fighter of all time, and who's your favorite fighter right now?
Man, I have to be honest, man. My favorite fighter of all time is Floyd Mayweather Jr. He really is. for his boxing skills, his boxing ability. I just believe that he does so many great things as a boxer that I don't know if he's going to get those flowers completely until he's gone, unfortunately. I think a lot of people are always going to have some sort of hate toward Floyd Mayweather due to the fact that he's very flamboyant and likes to show off, and he changed the game, so to speak. And, people don't like that very much. But I personally see the things that he's doing in the ring, and I'm always, always super impressed with Floyd Mayweather. Now, there were other great fighters who I loved. I loved so many of them, and there's so many more fighters I haven't gotten a chance to actually sit down and study. So it's like a never-ending rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Of so many good guys in history. But from my personal experience watching boxing, Floyd Mayweather's the one who stuck out to me the most. Even back in the day, he just did so many good things. Could work off his jab, doesn't get hit. He could fight in the pocket. He shows grit when he has to. So I'm gonna say Floyd Mayweather. And today, my current favorite fighter, damn, it's a tough one, man. I don't really have one today, man. I'm gonna have to go with my boy, my personal guy that I work with, Tevin Farmer. I mean, I can't. I'm not a fan of anybody else. Like, I'm not like. I really liked the Canelo when he was first coming up. I really liked the Canelo. And now it's like, whatever with Canelo. He's like, all right, I know he's good. Who else, man? Errol Spence has more to prove. Terrence Crawford has more to prove. Shakur Stevenson, all them got. Everybody's like even playing field to me. Like they all have more to prove. The one who stands out the most, I guess you would have to say, is Canelo.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I feel like he's evolved a lot, like over the years. Where he's at now, the way he fights, the how defensively responsible he is coming forward. I think that's a very underrated talent. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone that does it the way he does it. And not even like the slickness with the coming forward like that. Like I feel like he's one of those guys. He's another one of those guys that it's gonna take him like being gone to get his flowers as well. So I totally do agree with you there. Appreciate you, Coach. I know there are other people waiting right now, so I'm gonna get off. Coach, I commented. I asked you to do a take on Muhammad Ali if you got the chance. I know a lot of people, they don't really want to like comment on Ali's fighting style because he was a little unorthodox, wasn't exactly fundamental, but I feel like a lot of people would enjoy your take on that. So it'd be really cool if you made a video, if you could. I know you're busy.
I got you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'll definitely get to that.
Yes, sir. My channel.
Thank you for all the kind words. Thank you for all the kind words, man. And I'll keep in touch. And you already know where to find me.
It's right. It's from the heart, Coach. It's facts. I'm gonna comment so you can see my channel. I got some of my fights over there, and hopefully, is there a way I can DM you, email? You
Absolutely. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. And I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Take care. God bless.
That's what I'm talking about, people. Get in here, show love. The love gets shown back. You know what I mean? I'm here to help y'all. I'm here to answer y'all questions, man. I'm not here, for anything else, man. Coach Anthony Boxing, man, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to bring back. My bad. I gotta say, I do that every once in a while. All right, man. Let's see the questions, man. A lot of you guys are chatting in here. So easy for me to just converse with you guys, man. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and put that link one more time. Maybe I'll take a couple more people and see where it's at. You know what I mean? See where we at with it. But yeah, man. What's up with that Floyd Mayweather? What's up with that Tyson Fury situation though? Who knows something about Tyson Fury? Let me know. Who knows, man? Is the fight definitely postponed? Is the fight definitely postponed? I know the fight got postponed. I know something happened. I posted something today about it, but I don't know the ending details. You know what I mean? I didn't keep up with it, man. I got busy today. My man Abdullah said, yeah, it is. Oh, man, that's whack, man. That is whack. Ladies and gentlemen, man, get your butts in here. Pause. All right? I put the links in there. I know what I'm going to do. A lot of people want to know about me and Ocho. Yo, that's crazy, man. Oh, hold on. I got something right here. Super chat. Coach, do you have any tips for a 6 foot, 135-pound boxer? Yeah. Use that jab. Stay on the outside. You feel me? Use the. If you're a 6 foot tall, 135-pounder, you should be pretty damn rangy, I should say. You should be pretty rangy. You should be able to keep a guy off with his jab, with your jab. You shouldn't have to mix it up too much on the inside. So that would be my number one tips based off of what you're telling me. I still don't know how you fight. I don't know your personality traits. You see what I'm saying? But that would be my first initial instinct. You know what I mean? I want to see if I can get somebody in here real quick. Hold on. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, coach, my question is for every punch thrown, should your head be off the center line? Okay, that's a good question. For every punch thrown, should your head be off the center line? I'm going to say no, because sometimes you want to be in the middle when you want to throw some punches, but punches can get thrown off the center line. So, for instance, if I'm standing in front of you and I pop my jab, but I keep my palm in front of me, and we both throw jabs at the same time, but my hand is right in the middle, right? I might just want to throw the jab from right there. Boom. I might just want to hit you with the jab, boom, in the straight right hand, boom. Now, throwing it from off the center line, like I could do that as well, right? I could pop a jab just like that, right? I can slip as I'm throwing a jab. I can slip as I'm throwing the cross, right? I could throw a hook from right here, or I can slip over and throw the hook. So, should you be off the center line for every punch? No, it's not necessary, but every punch, for the most part, can get thrown off the center line. I could throw a lead uppercut from off the line. I could throw a rear uppercut from off the line. I could throw a jab from off the line, a cross from off the line. I can slip over before I shoot a hook. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it all depends on the situation. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? So it's a little bit, I'm gonna make a video on this. You know what I mean? I'm definitely gonna make a video on this. It's a good question because the center line thing gets overused as far as, oh, get your head off the line, get your head off the line. But what if I want to stay there? What if I want you to throw a hook at me so I could just catch it right there and boom, fire one back, or catch it and boom, rip one right underneath? You see what I'm saying? What if I want to stay in the middle and to shoot a hook straight right hand at you? You know what I mean? It's like, it just depends. It just depends. What are some good traps you can use on taller opponents? Some good traps you can use on taller opponents. Well, you can you can stay in the middle, and make it seem like you're in the middle. Get him to maybe throw a right hand. And when he throws that right hand, slip over quickly, dig a left hook to the body. You know what I mean? You could do that. Another one you could do is maybe I'm staying in the middle. He thinks he's going to pop a jab at me. When he goes to pop a jab, I slip and pop my jab at the same time as I take a step forward. So now, as the taller guy, I think that the shorter guy's head's right here. When I throw the jab, he slips, and when he slips, he steps in and hits me with a jab. So basically, give a target, take it away, and then when I take it away, step in aggressively, step in quickly. Couple of things that you could do right there. Tyson Fury got COVID-19. Damn, Tyson Fury got COVID-19. That's crazy. I didn't know he actually got it. I heard that he had it. The camp had an outbreak, but I didn't know that he actually had it. Pop Off Gaming, I'm going to put your link in here, man. Get in here and come talk to me real quick. I put the link in the description. Get in here and come talk to me real quick, man. My man Biggie said, shit, man, this live chat is dope. I appreciate that, man. That's the, like I said, sometimes I feel like when I come on here alone, we're productive. We get stuff done. Sometimes I come on here with people and it's dope for different reasons. We just did a couple of dope lives. I did one with my man Billy Briscoe the other day. It's a little quiet in here for that one, but it was 4th of July weekend. Right, 4th of July? Yeah, it was a 4th of July weekend, and, people were probably out and about. And then 2 nights ago, I did one with Daya Davis for, this Conor McGregor fight. That one was really dope, man. It was really good energy, real positive vibes. And I did a Q&A about a week ago by myself that I thought was real good. And this one, so far, so good, man. You know what I mean? So far, so good. I'm putting the link. It seems like all the people with courage to get in here with the link already clicked it. Everybody else, it's just using the texting, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, it's all good. But if you want to get in here and chop it up with me, man, click that link. How often should I do strength and conditioning sessions, and how long should the sessions be? Good question. Boxing's a very individual thing, okay? Very individual. So there's not going to be a one size fits all for this answer. It'd be dope if I could be like, all right, so everybody should be doing strength and conditioning 2 days a week, and everybody should be doing fundamental boxing training 3 days a week, and 1 day a week we're going to do a long run, 2 days a week. It's a very individual thing. Everybody's a little bit different. Everybody has different needs. So it depends on how much strength and conditioning do you need? How much skills training do you need? You know what I mean? Like, if you come to me and you're already in good shape, but your skills need work, then I'm probably going to focus more on fundamental training with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be teaching you stuff, working on your craft, helping you with your fundamentals, getting you the sparring that you need, working on developing you as a fighter. Because that's number one. You have to remember that strength and conditioning is supplemental to boxing. A lot of people who started nowadays, what they want to do is they want to supplement strength and conditioning with boxing. It's almost like strength and conditioning is more important than boxing. It's like, since when did, being in really good shape only, override boxing fundamentals, developing a good jab, developing a good cross, developing a good hook, uppercut, good defensive techniques, good footwork, strategy, tactics. Since when did strength and conditioning overcome that? So, the problem is, guys are now sold that strength and conditioning is the number one priority for guys to be prepared for combat. But you have to remember, when you're boxing, you're working out. Right? When I'm shadow boxing the way I'm supposed to, I'm working out. When I'm hitting the bag the way I'm supposed to, I'm working out. When I'm sparring 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 rounds with competitive work, I'm working out. When you're jumping rope and doing double unders and everything else and elevating your heart rate, you're working out. When you're hitting the speed bag and you're jumping at the same time the way Pacquiao does, and you're constantly your shoulders are being worked, you're jumping like you're jumping rope, you're working out. If you also add some running and some sprinting to your program, how much more do you really think your body really needs? We have to ask ourselves that. You're running miles, you're sprinting, you're jumping rope, you're shadow boxing, you're hitting heavy bags, you're sparring. We're doing core work. All boxing coaches put their fighters through a good core routine. We're doing some calisthenics as well. We're not just training you for boxing. We're also putting you through some basic calisthenics as well. Push-ups, pull-ups, dips, stuff like that manner. Sledgehammer work. You know what I mean? Combat ropes. A lot of boxing coaches are already doing all these things. Now you bring in a strength and conditioning coach. How much more do you really think you need? I'm saying you got to ask yourself that. If you was to do a typical bodybuilding routine, you're gonna do chest and back. Chest one day. Let's go with the basic one. You're gonna do chest and triceps, back and bis. Legs one day, shoulders one day, or legs and shoulder together. You might repeat. You might do a little bit of cardio, but you're not gonna be boxing on top of that, running on top of that, doing all that, because then you get injured, right? So I know I'm probably going all over the place. How often should I do strength and conditioning sessions? The reason why I'm saying all of that is to say, for one, it depends on what your personal needs are. I don't know how out of shape you are. You got guys who get in shape before they start boxing. So what they'll do is they'll be like, yo, I got to get in shape to get in shape. So what they'll do is they'll work out, get their body down in weight or whatever, and then they'll come to the boxing gym to start their boxing training. You know what I'm saying? Because they were really out of shape in between camps. It happens a lot. Now, you know, are you that guy? Or are you a guy who's already in good shape and now you're ready to box? Are you that guy? So a lot of variables here, but always remember this. Everything you do outside of boxing is supplemental to your boxing. So the number one focus should be boxing. We should be shadow boxing. We should be working on our craft. We should be hitting mitts and heavy bags and sparring. Trust me, if you want to get in some good shape, get some good sparring. Get some good sparring. I'll get you ready for a fight with just that. I'll get you ready. I don't even need a heavy bag. Get me some good work and get me a guy who's willing to endure the work, and we'll get ready for a fight. You feel me? Like, I'm not saying you're going to get ready and win a world championship with that, because you do need everything. You do need your heavy bag. You do need your mitts. You need your shields, the body armors, and all of those things to help really, really, really develop. But the main thing, sparring. Let's get some good, solid work. I guarantee you a good, solid sparring session is going to be harder than any of that strength and conditioning, and more beneficial. You know, when I went to personal training school like 15 years ago to get a mini degree, because I wanted to be a personal trainer and stuff, add that to my boxing expertise. And one of the main things we talked about was functional training. And functional training was basically just training specific to whatever you're doing. So boxing training is a very functional training method of training, because we're shadow boxing exactly what we would do when we're throwing punches and working our defense and, you know, envisioning and using all that stuff, right? We're hitting heavy bags. Again, the same stuff. We're hitting mitts. If you got a good trainer, you're hitting mitts correctly. You're working on the same stuff. You feel me? Jumping rope. Very similar to a rhythm that you're going to use in boxing, your footwork rhythm, and, you know, it gives you that. You know what I'm saying? So boxing and sparring. Sparring is basically simulation of a fight. You're actually getting punched. So the boxing training is really enough. With a slight touch, a little sprinkle on top of some strength and conditioning, and anything can be considered strength and conditioning. I don't necessarily believe that you need to bring in a strength and conditioning professional. I think that if you're doing all the boxing stuff that you're supposed to do, if you know, add on a couple of things, you know what I mean, just to help with some strength, you know what I mean, and help you elevate your heart rate, that's more than enough, you know what I mean? But hey, we'll maybe get a little bit deeper on that subject a little bit later. But yeah, you get me started, I'll start ranting, man. You know what I mean? I'll start ranting. But good question. Thank you for your question. Keep up the work, coach. Always use your advice for workout smart. Huge help. I appreciate you, my guy. You know what? Let me see something real quick. I might have something for y'all. Real quick. I might have something for y'all. Let's see what I can do real quick, man. Let's see what I can do. Let's see right here. Okay. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. I just try to get in your podcast. I put the link there, champ. All you have to do is click it. I'll put it back right there. Boom. Does the Philly show work in a southpaw versus orthodox? My understanding is no, but I've seen Dustin Poirier use it in MMA with large success. Thoughts? Yes, it can work against the opposite stance. Absolutely. Now, my bad, bro. I'll be pressing a little button here and there, and then next thing you know, it can work against the opposite stance, absolutely. And I actually talk about that in my How to Box the Opposite Stance course. I actually talk about it in that, man. So I would highly suggest that you get that course. You know what I'm saying? Very beneficial. And of course, the CA Power Hour, 75% off. You'll get the course extremely cheap right now. Well worth every dollar, by the way. You know what I mean? Invest in yourself, man. Definitely. I bring my boy Sid in here. What's up, man? Talk to me. Can't hear you. All right. My boy Sid was not responsive right there. Yeah, my screen went black. I know my screen did go black, but I'm back. But I'll give you a nice little pointer though to talk about that Philly show being effective against the opposite stance. Let me see if I can get that question back on here. Well, I can't even find the question. A lot of questions. Oh, here we go. All right, so does the Philly show work southpaw versus orthodox? Now, let's just think about this one little piece for a second. One little piece that I'm going to give you. Okay, if the straight right hand comes, all right. If the straight right hand comes, I shoulder roll the straight right hand. Right, this is orthodox versus orthodox. I am shoulder rolling the straight right hand. Now, of course, top of the head's open. Right, that's where the catches can come into play. That's where bending of the waist can come into play. That's where dropping the rear shoulder back can come into play. Variables there, right? We're gonna understand that there's variables, but to make a long story short, straight right hand comes, shoulder roll, right? Boom, that chin is tucked, chin is down, right hand is ready to do extra work, whatever. If I'm boxing a southpaw and I'm standing in that Philly show, now, that right hand isn't going to come from a straight position anymore because he is a southpaw. So now he is standing southpaw. So now he's going to throw a right hook or a jab because he's obviously a southpaw. So that right hand is no longer a straight right hand. It is a jab or a right hook. So if he throws a right hook and it's coming from here, if I'm blocking a right hook, I'm blocking it like this. If the right hook's coming and I'm in a Philly show, I'm just going to roll the shoulder the same exact way. That right hook is going to come right off the shoulder. You see what I'm saying? That's a little hint for y'all. So if you go ahead and you get the how to box the opposite stance, we talk about it and we explain it and we drill it. Me and Fast Eddie Chambers, professional boxer, Fast Eddie Chambers, right? So you can shoulder roll the right hook. Okay, if the straight left hand comes, then we're going to have other options that I'm not going to give away right this second. Let's bring my man Tim in here. What's going on, Tim?
What's up, Coach Ant?
What's going on, my guy?
How you, my guy? You all right?
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. You finally get to chop it up. Talk to me.
Yo, you a hard man to get in contact with, bro.
I know, man. I've been very, very busy lately, but we're working.
Yeah. Listen, here's my question, right? I watched the last video. The 10 combinations that you throw that work for sure.
Slow down because the connection's a little choppy. I can't really grasp what you're saying.
My fault. Probably my thing then. But I said I seen your last video.
Yeah, I
the
got
2 combinations that works.
Yep.
Okay. I noticed off your combinations, you either step to the side with your head being off the center line, you roll, you catch, you step back.
Okay, say that last part again.
So I watch you like put your head up the line, you roll, you catch it, or you step back.
Or for what? For what?
Off your combinations.
Oh, after your combinations.
Right.
Well,
So,
I mean, you have options. You have options. There's several options. It depends on what punch am I finishing with, right? So if I go 1, 2, 3, I have the option of rolling over the same direction as my last shot. I got the option of slipping, stepping, pivoting. You know what I'm saying? If I finish with a right hand, I have the option to roll under. I also have the option to take a step back. All right, you can step straight back, or you can step back in like a diagonal step back, like bang off into an angle slightly. So these are your options. You can either finish and roll out the same direction as your last shot, slip, pivot, you know what I'm saying? Or you can step back. Typically, you move your hands, you move your head, you move your feet. Sometimes we move our head first, then move our hands, then move our feet. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's move your hands, move your head, move your feet. Doesn't have to be in any specific order. But if you use the order of move your hands, move your head when you're done punching, and then use your feet to retreat, it's a pretty solid fundamental strategy. You know what I mean? Just to make it simple, you go the same direction that you finish. That's basic by the book. There's exceptions to the rules, but for the most part, that's what I would suggest right now.
Well, it's not. Well, like I said, I've been doing this. You probably know who I am. I've been doing it for nine years. Like I told you, I fight for Gleason. I fight for Fight Factory. Also, it's all in New York. It's all New York. And I agree with a lot of your podcasts. I agree. You're very knowledgeable. You're passionate about what you do. That's why I like to talk to you and ask you questions, whether it's DMing you or on the podcast. So I appreciate that from you.
Thank you.
My last question is, right, I watch all your videos. I watch you from the ground up, like your footwork, how your hips move, your shoulders, with your hands up and everything. Can that be taught on the bag or by the mitt?
Both. Can be taught shadow boxing. You don't need to learn that on a bag or mitts. You can learn that shadow boxing. But you got to have somebody who's going to be hands-on with you, right? Like if you're not turning your body, if your hands are, like when I train my guys, I physically grab their hands and, put your hands here. I grab their elbows, readjust your body here because the human body boxing is not a natural thing for the human body. I learned that actually from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. I remember I spoke to this guy who does Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He said jiu-jitsu is natural. He said when you learn jiu-jitsu, you'll notice that things are natural. He said, but boxing is not natural. He actually boxed as well. And I don't know about Brazilian jiu-jitsu being natural, but I do come to notice that boxing is not natural for most people. Most people have a big issue transferring the weight, giving good technique, really exploding with the power the way they're supposed to. I noticed that boxing is not natural for most people. Now, there are natural boxers, natural fighters. You do have them, but I owned a gym where I worked with hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, probably thousands of people. And I can name in like both hands how many fighters I was actually able to develop out of all those people, because it's not natural for most people. You know what I'm saying? Just teaching somebody a 1-2 in some cases takes a long time. Not all, but in some cases, for them to really develop the 1-2 to the liking that you wanted as a coach can take a year, can take longer. I see pros who still don't throw the 1-2 the way I would want them to throw it. I'm like, damn, you're a pro and you got away with throwing your 1-2 like that? You know, but there's other variables, right? Strength, will, grit, determination, where sometimes their technique might not be there, but they bring all these other elements, and that's what allows them to become professional fighters. But if we're basing it based off just pure technique, you know, you have a lot of professional fighters who have poor technique. And it's because boxing is not a natural thing.
Well, let me just say this before I let you go. So, as I said, I'm 46 years old. I want all your podcast guys to hear this. I'm 46. I'm competing as a day right now. Still compete today. I have 4 different trainers. I come to you and I watch your videos because you're more passionate.
Thank you.
I swear to God to you. I don't care. After today, I might not have no trainers, period. But I'm telling you, I come to you and watch your video and all that because you're very passionate.
Well, thank you so much.
Again.
I appreciate you, brother. Take care. You know, it's real dope when I hear people say they watch me because I'm passionate, and I appreciate that so much. But I also want to make sure you guys are watching me because I'm teaching. You see what I'm saying? It's okay for somebody to say you're real passionate, but if you're passionately giving out the wrong information, then that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to be the guy who's passionately giving out the wrong information. I got friends in boxing that are in very high places in boxing. You know what I mean? I'm fortunate that I've built some really solid relationships with some of the best in the business. And I say that proudly. I remember watching a lot of these guys fight, and now they're literally in my phone. I can make a phone call. And, you know, sometimes we'll send each other little videos on Instagram like, you see this? Like, what am I watching? Like, did this guy really think he could teach this and get away with it? And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that now, it's one thing for a hater to like send something and be like, oh, here goes Coach Ant teaching that BS. Or another guy who doesn't know anything about boxing, who thinks he knows more than he knows, sends it. But when the top people in the sport are doing it, that's when I would feel a certain way, because I want to carry on a legacy of teaching boxing the right way. Now, whether that's on a professional level with professional fighters, amateur fighters, or giving out instructionals and never working with a fighter again. That's at my discretion of where I want to do it. But when I do it, I want it to be the most quality, real stuff that works, not BS, stuff that works. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, that's just my goal, to bring you guys the best that I could possibly bring you. So thank you for saying that I'm passionate, but I'm also trying to make sure that I'm teaching you high-level boxing. I remember when I wanted to make a YouTube channel, one of the main things I said was, how wouldn't it be dope if one of the top trainers was out here teaching? I used to call trainers that I'm friends with and converse with them and talk to them about boxing and be like, yo, that'll be dope, man. And I'd be like, damn, it'd be dope if this trainer was talking about this, or it'd be dope if that guy knows stuff. But they're not into that. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to be the guy. They don't want to do it. That's fine. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be the guy who sheds light and gives knowledge and shows people, you know what I mean, and explains to people. It's one thing to, tell somebody something. It's another thing to be able to explain it and then have the answer to all the questions. And that's what I try to bring. You know what I mean? Enough about me, man. Let's see what else we got going on in here. Is it my mic that's muffled, or was it my brother's mic that you're talking about? Does my mic sound muffled right now? Let me know. Oh snap. Oh snap. Told you I had something for you guys. We got round 2 with Billy Briscoe. Talk to me, baby.
What's good, champ?
Billy Briscoe, man, we having a good chat tonight, man. There was a lot of people who came on here asking questions. And a question that I got that I thought you would be perfect for was, what's your thoughts? Me and you've had this conversation in private, but what's your thoughts on strength and conditioning for boxing? And how many times should a guy strength and conditioning in boxing?
That's a loaded question. It really depends on the individual. The old timers didn't have strength and conditioning per se as they do now, and they could go 15 rounds like water. Some of these guys got, all the miracles of modern science, strength and conditioning, and hyperbaric chambers and everything else that can't give you a hard 12.
Right. So what's your thoughts on
running
that?
and sparring are the 2 best conditioners. Everything else is supplemental. If me and you had a guy and they said, yo, you got to get 6 weeks, because the old timers only use 6 weeks for training camp. They're like, you got 6 weeks and you got to get this guy in shape to fight a 12-round bout. If we had the proper sparring partners, you know what I mean? Let's just say we was in the mountains. I don't know. They send us to the mountains and there's only a ring, a mirror for shadow boxing, and we did warm up a little bit. You know what I mean? And just had us sparring and running. We get him in shape. He'll be fine. He'll be able to do hard 12.
Hold on, I gotta answer this real quick, Billy. We got a super chat, $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Jose. Is Mike Tyson style good at 168, bob and weave, and then hit? So would a Mike Tyson style work at 168? I'll answer this, and then Billy, I'll let you elaborate on this. Honestly, I'm gonna say probably not, only because the Mike Tyson style, like I said before, in my opinion. Now, of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, but my opinion on the Mike Tyson style is that he was an anomaly. He was a special guy. And guys like him, they come around every so often. But that style that he had was a sucker for a guy with a good jab, a sucker for a guy who knew how to tie up, and it showed issues in the past. Now, can it work? Yes. Matter of fact, there was a guy at 168, if I'm not mistaken, from Brooklyn, Billy, right? Didn't he fight out of that style? He was like a Russian guy or something like that, and he actually fought out of that style?
Yeah, Hammer. I worked with him when he first came over here from Georgia. Hammer.
And he actually had some success with that style at 168.
Yeah, when he went over back to Europe, because he left here and he went back to Europe, he had success. Yeah.
Yeah, so look, it's like a double-edged sword. The answer is yes and no. My answer, and then Billy, I'll let you elaborate, but my answer is yes and no. It really depends on the person, but the fundamental flaws of constantly crossing that center line, I just feel like Mike Tyson was able to do it because when he landed on you, most guys went down. But what happens when you try to do it and you're landing and these guys ain't going down, and then you have to deal with a jab, deal with all the other tools that, boxers typically have at those lower weight classes. What's your thoughts, Billy?
It definitely depends on the individual. I mean, if you got the right guy and you drill him, like Customato was big on drilling a fighter, make him do it right so much he couldn't do it wrong if he wanted to. And you really get somebody to fully understand that peekaboo style, which there may be only 3 people left in the world to fully understand that style, that was actually taught not only the how, because we all see the how, but the why, and the when, and if you really get a guy to fully understand that style and you fit that mold, you'll be okay. You can pull it off if if you fit that mold, you're cut from that cloth, so to speak.
When you
And
say
have the
fit that
proper
mold, you mean body. You mean body style. You mean body,
yeah, like
physical
short,
attribute.
short, shorter than the average guy, stocky, explosive, good speed, because that style had variation. Like Mike Tyson was one variation of it, but before that we had Floyd Patterson, which was the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, and to Customato beat his own record with another fighter, Mike Tyson, who was But he had Mike Tyson, then he had Floyd Patterson, and before that he had Jose Torres, which was the second world champion for Puerto Rico when he won the light heavyweight title against Willie Pastrano. That's why they call it the Willie bag. A lot of people don't know that. The Willie bag, they named it after Willie because he wanted him to think every time he was hitting the bag, he was hitting Willie. And then he dropped him with a 5, which is their 45 to the body, which is the 5 in their number system. Everything off the lead side was the odd number, and everything off the rear side was the even number. Yeah, it could work, but you would have to find the right guy. You know what I mean?
You have to find the right guy. Like for instance,
crossing that
for a lot of guys, for a lot of guys who don't know, this is Billy Briscoe, somebody who I speak to and admire highly in boxing. Now, a guy like you, Billy, who worked with Gabriel Rosado, most notable fighter that I know that you spent a lot of years with, do you think you can get a guy like Gabriel Rosado to fight out of that style and be successful? That's my question.
Nah, he doesn't fit that mold.
Doesn't fit the mold.
You could give him some of the tools. Like we use some of the tools in our system. I took some things from Customato. I admire a lot of the things that he did because almost all his philosophies you can apply to boxing. You might not be able to apply his style, the peekaboo, squared up hands folded in front of your face under your cheekbones, and then really not slipping, more rocking side to side. You know what I mean? Where slipping is more turning the shoulders and upper body. You know what I mean? They just rock side to side. But a lot of the cutting the angles and the switches and things like that we did pull off, and then some of the combinations like. Because Customato was going, always trying to put yourself in a position where you can hit him and he can't hit you. That's what the whole science of boxing is all about. So, like the right hook to the body, right uppercut, what you killed a lot of guys with. We use some of that, but we put like a little twist on it for the individual. Like we would throw the right hook to the body, and as soon as the right hook to the body, and we retracted, we would step forward into a Fitzsimmons shift, turn to the southpaw stance, and shoot the right uppercut, which is going to force him out to our left. But we already cut that angle, so now we're in position to rip the 45 with the left hook at the cutoff shot, like a secondary trap. So we have, and the cuss, where he would jab from the different angles to back the guy up. I used that with Joey DeWego when I had him, when we was knocking all them guys out. I used a lot of that stuff with Joey DeWego.
Now, Joey DeWego more so fits that mold that you're talking about. Absolutely. He's the type of guy that if he was 168, which obviously he's not, Joey DeWego's a full-blown heavyweight, but even though he probably could have got the cruiser, I mean, to be honest with you, what do you think?
He could have. Yeah, he
definitely fits that mold. So more so that tank type body style, you would say.
Absolutely. Because he's short. He's like 5. What's he like? He's probably my height, like 5'11". At the heavyweight, that's short nowadays. So that's why we were successful, because we used a lot of that. We used a lot of, what Joey's got a lot of dimension to him that people don't see because he's never in shape. That's the bottom line. He's never in shape to pull it off. But when he's in shape and he's explosive, he got a lot of that Tyson-esque type of skill that I try to instill in him. I stole parts from fighters that I thought would suit him well. Tyson, I took certain things from well, I'm not going to just say Tyson, from the Customato system, because we use some of the Floyd Patterson things too. We use that. Then we used, Joe Frazier's system that he got from Yank Durham here in North Philadelphia. And then we used a lot of the thing that he liked from James Toney, tilting, rolling, riding.
That's some nice recipes to put into a pot right there.
Yeah, well, I think with me, and then I knew how to click with him. I knew how to trick him into doing what he needed to do. You know what I mean? So, we was pretty successful. We was 7-0-5 knockout together.
Right. But yo, Jose, man, I want to give a big shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. People showing love, coming in here, appreciating the knowledge. So, Billy, we got to keep talking, man, about some boxing stuff, man. What's your thoughts about, so I was talking, this is a little bit earlier today. We was having a conversation. I was just saying how, boxing has evolved. Guys have gotten better in areas, but at the same time, guys have also, I feel like they lost stuff, right? Like there's so many things. Like if I was to pull up Mike McCullum versus James Toney right now, I would see stuff in that fight that you don't see anymore. And that was not even 30 years ago. Like you literally will see that fight. Maybe it was 30 years. Am I getting that old?
Yeah, it's about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Remember that those were the small things, the lost art, the little intricate details, you know what I mean? The things that guys used to be able to do because they were taught to do these things, and unfortunately a lot of it been lost to the annals of time, and even in that, like I remember as a kid watching, well, I wasn't a kid, but I remember anything under 25 to me as a kid. But when I was younger, I was watching that fight, and even Eddie Futch, they was like, this is a throwback. They was saying that Mike McCullum was like a throwback to the days of the great Sugar Ray Robinson, because he was older at that time and he was able to handle these guys, not with his youth but with his accumulated ring knowledge, the same way Sugar Ray Robinson was able to do it up into his late 40s. And they were saying, and Eddie Futch, one of the most tremendous teachers that ever lived in the game, and he was saying that the reason he was able to do that because he did all the little things that are lost today. And he was saying that 30 years ago. So imagine now, if it was lost to the game 30 years ago, there's only a handful of guys left nowadays that know it and can teach it.
That's crazy when you think about that. And I always tell that to people too who ask me about boxing. I always say it's the little details that's gonna separate the good fighters from the bad fighters. If I'm boxing a guy right now, he knows how to throw the jab, the cross, and the hook the same way I know how to throw the jab and the cross and the hook. So what am I looking for? I'm looking to see if that hand's just a little bit not positioned where it should be. I'm looking to see if he paused that right hand, even if it's just by a little bit. I'm looking for those little details that I could capitalize on, because we're both doing a lot of the similar things. It's just one guy's doing it a little bit better, and that's typically what separates the greats from the good ones. You see what I'm saying? There's them little details.
Certainly. I mean, one of the major differences between a good fighter and a great fighter takes time to master the fundamentals. And, the fundamentals come to them little things. Because when you put all the little things together, that what makes a big difference when you get to a certain level. Because there's only X amount of punches. Like you said, he knows the jab, the right hand, left hook, the right uppercut, the overhand, right. He knows all the punches. You know all the punches. It's when he is able to pull off the little things that you can't, or that you pull off the little things that he can, that can make the major difference. Because everybody plans their fight. Am I right? You got a fight plan. He got a fight plan. But when your fight plan goes awry, the man who can make the better adjustments 9 times out of 10 is going to pull out that win. And they say, well, I don't got to train adjustments. I just, shit goes bad, I do this. No, if you don't train it in the gym, you're not going to do it. You know what I mean? Because it all goes back. A fight is nothing more than a byproduct of the training camp that with the front of it. So if you didn't train it in the camp, how are you going to pull it out in a fight? I mean, you might get lucky and close your eyes and Hail Mary full of grace and let an overhand right go and knock him out. That's a possibility. But as far as making them adjustments that you need to, you got to train them. You got to train the adjustments along with the fight plan. It's like the Navy SEALs say, you never try anything for the first time in combat, you never use anything new. You gotta ingrain it in the gym.
So what is it that you like about, you've been around the sport for a long time and you've seen guys from the old timers to the new guys. You're pretty involved with paying attention. What do you like that the new guys are doing as opposed to some of the older guys? Because you'll get a lot of guys they'll sit there and argue and say guys are better today than they were back then because back then they had less competition, or their strength and conditioning wasn't as good, or this, that, or the other. They'll debate with you.
Man.
What are your thoughts, and how would you combat that? That as a response. Like, what would you say to those guys?
After I stop laughing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
After I stop, tell them, listen. Back then, those guys fought much, much more often. It's like the great Ray Arcel, who had trained 23 world champions. Back then, there was only 8 weight classes, 1 world champion. So there was only 8 world champions in the world. Now there's 64. Back then, they fought much more often, much more. Guys wouldn't even fight for a world title. They had 50, 60 fights at the time. You know what I mean? So they was active. And the great Ray Arcel said, the key to this thing, is activity. And the great Sugar Ray Robinson also said the same thing. The key to this thing is activity. You got to stay active. You know what I mean? So these guys are active. They're learning their craft by fighting. Like, imagine if me and you was fighting every other Friday. That's our job. We're fighting every other Friday. You know what I mean? And we just keep fighting. We start now and we fight every other Friday. And then you two get a big fight. Then maybe we fight once a month. Then we come back to maybe once every 3 weeks. And we'll keep fighting for 10 years. You know what I mean? We're going to be much better. Like if you're a house painter and you paint one house and you paint one day a month and you've been doing it for 10 years. And I'm a house painter and I've been painting every day, 6 days a week for 5 years. Chances are I'm going to be a little bit more proficient because I've had more brush time. You know what I mean? Same thing with them. They had more ring time. You know what I mean?
So how do you think those guys did it? How do you think those guys did it? Because guys nowadays, they have 1 or 2 fights and they're almost like they can't do it anymore for the rest of the year. They had a couple of tough fights or whatnot. And it seemed like these guys back in the day who had less resources, less recovery resources,
yes, sir.
nutrition, whatever. How were those guys able to do that stuff? And these new guys with all the resources aren't able to do it. You know what I'm saying? Do you think, like, what do you think it is? Do you think it's psychological? What do you think it is?
Absolutely. I think it was, I think back then they said, hard times made hard men. You know what I mean? Softer times make softer men. Those guys were hard. They were mentally hard. They would fight you, tooth and nail. They would go to war with you because they needed the money. You know what I mean? These guys weren't making gigantic paydays. Like some of these guys now, they don't even have 40 professional fights and they're retired. Harry Greb, which fought, I believe, 21 Hall of Famers. This guy fought everybody. He had damn near 300 professional fights out of Pittsburgh, and he was blind in one eye. He fought his whole career blind in one eye. He fought 44 times in 1919 alone. Now they say, but he was fighting these guys and that guy. Man, he fought 44 times in 1919 alone. What's that? Every week until you get to a certain point, then maybe every 2 weeks, then back to every week. This guy was fighting, and then Sugar Ray Robinson. They said that he got to the point where he was fighting so often that he would only spar 3 times a week, 3 rounds apiece. You know what I mean? They were fighting themselves in shape. Nowadays, the guy needs strength and conditioning, they need this, they need that. Or they get in a hard fight, and they got to take off 6 months. I'll tell you a story. Bob Montgomery, he was fighting for the lightweight championship of the world from here, North Philadelphia. Bob Montgomery, he was fighting for the lightweight championship of the world. And, they told him, Al Bummy Davis, which was Brownsville first world champion, the welterweight, murderous puncher, knocked guys in other time zones. His opponent fell out. So when the opponent fell out there, look, man, we need you to take this fight. He said, man, I ain't fighting Al Bummy Davis. He said, I got to fight for the world title next week. They said, listen, no matter what happens, whatever happens, you'll fight next week for the title anyway. He was like, all right, man, I got you. So he took one for the team, got knocked out cold, got stretched in the first round, got back up. They took him to the gym, whatever they refreshed him, did what they had to do. The next week, he fought 15 rounds and won the lightweight championship of the world. You know what I mean? Nowadays, the guy get knocked dead. He's got 6 months off. He's got to take a CAT scan, an EKG, MRI, PET scan in the brain. He's got to see a neurologist. Then he's got to see a follow-up neurologist. Then they put him through hoops. I mean, because he suffered what they call a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. Like, these guys were fighters, man. These guys used to fight. Now, and then, when they fought for the title, they fought with 6-ounce gloves, horse hairs. You know what I mean? So, guys said, well, this and that. They were just tougher guys, man. You know what I mean? And all the guys back then wasn't obviously great fighters. They would, there was some guys that were, they were mediocre. But they did have a lot of good fighters back then because if you're doing something 44 times a year, you're going to develop some kind of ability with it. Am I all right? I mean, even if you're doing something wrong, if you drill it long enough, it'll become effective.
What was the golden era to you? What would you say was like that was the era that had the most talent?
Gold. Yeah. The 40s and the 50s.
Oh, wow. So you're going way back there.
Yeah. Because you had all the guys. You had Henry Armstrong, which was the only man to hold 3 world titles, 3 different weight classes at the same time when there was only 8 world champions. He had the featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight. And he fought the middleweight champion, Stefano Garcia. He fought him to a draw, which everybody knows he won, but they couldn't let him win because they didn't want one man to hold 4 titles, which would have half the titles in sports. They didn't want one man to be, hold half the titles. And then you had him. Then you had the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Man, that guy was, he's legendary. You had Archie Moore. You had Ezer Charles. He was so good they wouldn't fight him middleweight. They had to move up to light heavyweight. He couldn't get a shot at light heavyweight, so they had to go up heavyweight. They had, Ezer Charles. You had the great Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, one of the Man, he held the world title for
People
11
say
years,
he
made
was the
25
greatest
successful
heavyweight
title
of all
defenses.
time.
Man, huh?
There's people who say he was the greatest heavyweight of all time. Do you agree?
I believe he was. He held the title for 11 years, made 25 successful title defenses. You know what I mean? And now they say, well, could you imagine Joe Louis fighting Klitschko? Listen, it's different times. People evolved.
No.
The
Hold
game didn't
on.
necessarily evolve.
Hold on, Billy. Because I was saying earlier that my golden era was late 80s, right? And then you also had late 90s. And the reason I said in early 2000s, like I have like different moments where I'm unsure which one might be better. But let's just say I chose the late 80s. Let's say I chose the Sugar Ray Leonard era. Those guys, I feel,
Good
can
era.
come. I feel like those guys can come today and dominate. I'm not so sure that the guys from the 40s and the 50s can come today and dominate. You see what I'm saying? So my golden era is
No, I
what era
understand what
can
you're talking about.
dominate all eras.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to do that because back then when them guys were fighting, they weighed in the same day. You know what I mean? So the welterweights that were 47, they weighed in at 47. They wasn't afforded the luxury to walk around at 177, 180 like the welterweights are today. And then they stripped down with the weight cutting protocol, the green bath, the water loading, things of that nature, and then jump on the scale, and then 30 hours to the fight. They didn't enjoy that luxury. They might have weighed in at 2:00 in the afternoon and had a fight, at 8 or 10 at night. It's hard to say because humans evolved. If you go down to Center City and you go to Betsy Ross' house, me and you couldn't even walk in the door. It would bust my nose, bust your nose because the door jambs were only like 5 foot tall. The average person back then was so small. Like even when I went to the World War I Museum, the guy told me he had to go to a child's like a kid's store that was going out of business, and he had to buy the mannequins to put his uniforms on because the uniforms were so small. They were like the size, grown men back then were like the size of adolescents. You know what I mean? So they developed. Human beings just kept evolving. Because
So
back
what's your
then anybody was over like 6'3", 6'4" was clumsy. Like Primo Carnera was a big guy. The Italian mob brought him over, and they used him for a while. And he was like 6'5", but he was clumsy. Back then, anybody over a certain height was clumsy. Now you got these guys that like Tyson Fury. It's like 6'9", but man, he could move. He could fight his ass off.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what some of the people are saying in here right now. Angel Rivera Sr. said tricks are lost because boxers today only train steady when they have a fight. They don't commit themselves and only learn what's needed. Do you agree with that, Billy?
I could go for that because back in the old days that was a craft. They were fighting every week. They were fighting every 2 weeks, so they stood in the gym. They knew this was their job, this was their profession, so they would stay in the gym. These guys now, like he said, they blow up. Like we were just talking about, welterweights blow up to 180 pounds. Between fights, and then they come in camp and they shake it down and get to 147 with the weight cutting methods. The old timers didn't enjoy that luxury because they were fighting so often they had to stay in shape. You know what I mean? They had to stay in some kind of shape where they can, boom. That's why their training camp for world title bouts was only 6 weeks because they was always in some kind of shape. And like he said, they don't take the time to learn their craft. Everything now is a microwave society. You showed the guy the jab today, he wants the right hand on and left hook the day after that. They want everything in 10 minutes or less. They don't walk the line. The old timers walk you on the line, until you develop that balance, range, position, execution, placement. They made sure you understood the key element to a punch, and they had your body position in place because you and I both know body position is defense in and of itself. You're in the right position. You got your feet in position, your heels up in the back. You got your chin tucked. You got your hands up, chin down, your elbows in, your eyes on your opponent. You learn how to move in the balance of position. Then they would initiate the jab, teach you how to jab, then teach you the right hand, and teach you how to turn the hook over. These guys now, they come in the gym, and a lot of the guys nowadays are microwave along with them. You see them in the gym one day, show them something. The next day, they got them on the pads, and jab, right hand, left hook, moving your head. Like, wait a minute, you got to build a foundation. Without a foundation, the building will stand. Stronger the foundation, the stronger the building. These guys don't take the time to really develop. And then the guys that want to take the time to develop them. They just leave and go to the other guy who's going to microwave them. More power to you. See how that works out for you. You know, slow and steady wins the race. Last time I checked the parable.
It's true, man. And a lot of people have asked me over the years, like, you know, how has my mitt work evolved over the years? And what I notice now as a guy holding pads, when I hold them, right? Because obviously there's more than just mitt work when it comes to boxing, but I do less.
Absolutely.
I do less than I did before. I used to do a lot, you know, put a guy, and don't get me wrong, if I want to remind people who does it, I just posted an old video on me and Tevin today, you know, like we have fun with it, but when I'm teaching, I'm doing so much less now because I'm trying to get the most out of everything that's done, the proper technique. I'm just really trying to maximize every technique being utilized. And I think, you know, that's how my mitt work has evolved by doing less than I did before, if that makes sense. But it adds up to more in the long run.
Sure. Most of the time, like, less is more. You know? A lot of times, less is more. You know? Like these guys want to do all this. They want to do strength and conditioning, and they want to do the run, and they want to do sparring, and want to buy. Bro, come on, man. You can only train yourself to a certain point. You know, you're like a pyramid. You go to a peak, not a plateau. You know what I mean? How much can the body tolerate? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes less is, you know, but these guys, they want to do all this stuff. And then, like you say, what you're teaching less, but you're giving them quality over quantity. You know what I mean? If it takes you longer to develop them a solid jab, you're doing them a much better benefit than to give them a 50% jab and a 50% right hand. I'll take 100% jab over 50% jab and 50 right hand all day long. Because, you know, a good jab gets you into trouble, gets you out of trouble. If in doubt, jab out. You could win a fight with just a good jab. You really know you can good balance your range, position, execution. You know how to place it, snap it, turn it, shoot it out fast as you can, make complete contact, bring it back fast on the straight line without rolling it. Got your chin. You understand the range, which you execute at, so you execute close, you know, and give up your range unnecessarily. You know, man, that jab's going to be very, very hard to take away. But a 50% jab, 50% right hand, even a old school novice can get away.
They say a good offense can't be countered; it can only be defended. But if you got a bullshit offense, we countering that all day long. Yeah, my man, Hand Flow Box Review. Respect to Billy. This man
When's the
knows
last
his
time you've been to
for real, huh? You there, Billy?
Yes, sir. I was saying, you know, I didn't want to cut you. Sorry. I was saying, the last time you've been to the gym and you watch a guy, a teacher or a trainer, whatever you want to, well, there's only a few teachers, but anybody that's actually watched working with a fighter, when is the last time you actually seen them drilling the guy on the jab, making him do 3 or 4 rounds, and not somebody on the heavy back?
None. I don't see anybody doing it. I'm doing it, but I don't see anybody doing it.
I do it all the time. I did it today, as a matter of fact, and the guy told me, I'm working with this guy. You know, I don't want to say his name because you know, I'm helping him out behind closed doors, but he's from down DC. And he was like, well, yeah, I got a different approach, that's all. And then I was showing him about setting traps. He said, nobody ever showed me how to set traps like this. I said, well, you know, we're working on that too. But everything got to come off the jab. It's very simple. You keep your jab continuously working, you get your combinations off, you get right back to the stick. It's not that hard, you know what I mean?
Fine-tuning the techniques.
Educated lead hand. Or Larry Holmes held the heavy for damn near 20 years behind.
Fine-tuning the techniques, that's what it's all about. Even if it's just a jab, for example, can be fine-tuned. Absolutely. And it's, you know, what's crazy is it's even if it's just a jab, and I'm not trying to come at you, Hands Flow Boxing, but even if it's just a jab, sounds almost like if the jab isn't that important, right? Like, we know the importance of the jab. The jab beats everything. The jab beats the cross, the hook, the uppercuts. You know what I mean? It's the closest to your target. Like Billy said, it gets you in and it gets you out of trouble. You know what I mean? So the jab is like, if it's not that, like, it's just the jab, it's the primary weapon. You know what I mean? It's something that has to get drilled. And, you know, I used to think that the left hook was the hardest punch to learn, because I remember trainers telling me that back in the day. The hardest punch to learn is the left hook. But over the years, I've noticed that it's the jab that is the hardest for a lot of guys to develop. Do you agree, Billy?
That depends on the person. I think that for most people, the left hook is the hardest punch to teach somebody. Because there's so much mechanics. Because when you're sliding over, you shift to your lead leg, then transfer your weight back. You're pivoting on the balls of the toes, squashing the bug, and then you're shifting your weight back from your lead leg from your lead leg to your rear leg. You're turning the shot over. Yeah, that's probably just one to teach him, but. Some people are different. Some people pick that up and they won't get the jab.
Yeah.
Some people have problems. Turning with the right hand. They won't squash. They won't turn their heel up. They don't transfer their weight, because whichever way you punch in boxing, your body got to move in that direction.
My boy 203 Ethan, thank you for the super chat. Said, should you keep the palms of your hands facing toward your face, or have the palms slightly out in a basic guard? I'm assuming that you're saying this versus, for me, I like my hands like this. I don't like them facing my face, if that's what you're asking. I like them here so I can turn my punches over, right? I can still catch punches if I have to. I can still block punches if I have to. So my hands are going to be held this way, as opposed to, now, of course, we know Mike Tyson's famous for this. But for me, this is what's most natural. I like to keep them slightly open, nice and relaxed. That's my preference. How you feel about that, Billy?
Well, absolutely. You got to keep your hands up, but my thing is kind of a hybrid what you're doing. You got the lead hand up, and then you got your middle position riding off your chin tucked behind your lead shoulder like you're kissing it. You know what I mean? And you got to keep your hands loose. You know what I mean? You don't tighten up that fist at that last second before you turn it over. Boom. You know what I mean? Nice and snappy.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, man.
Get away from a lot of punches just having your hands in the right position. But when you got your hands in that, you just that center line. I mean,
big shout out to Joshua Tate. I see you, my brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, Billy. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, man. A wise man once told me that.
Absolutely. Now, why would you want to skin a cat? That's a whole nother story. But there's a lot of ways to do it.
Right. And that's the thing about boxing.
I remember years ago. An old timer told me, he said there's a lot of right ways to do it depending on the individual. I understand. You take guys and you show them all the same move. They all do it slightly different. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's right for the individual. You take two twins, came out their mom moments apart, trained by the same person, same amount of time, amount of around, same amount of fight, everything. They're both going to fight slightly different. One's going to be more of a puncher, and one's usually going to be more of a boxer. Like the Charlo twins or the Rockin' Tiger here in Philadelphia, guys like that. Even Leon Spinks and Michael, well, they wasn't twins, but you get what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
There's a lot of different ways to do it.
Why that is. I wonder why that is. It's just it's so unique that you could train two guys and teach them exactly the same, and they'll end up fighting different.
Yeah, it all goes back to personalities. You know what I mean? Style always goes back to the fighter's personality. It's like Mike Tyson, like Mike Tyson. How you fight your fight, because the way you fight your fight be the way you live your life. Cuss was big on that, big in the personalities.
Right.
He believed that Capricorns were the best suited for boxing too. Believe it. Yeah, I'm sure you read that before.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know much about astrology, but
nobody ever takes the time to develop that lead hand. Nah, me neither. I'm not. I don't know too much about that. But I know that you don't see guys drilling fundamentals no more, man. You just don't see no good jab. You can probably count on your hand. Me and you could probably count on our hand, both hands, How many guys we see in boxing with a great jab? You know, a good versatile, great jab. It ain't, you know, it ain't a shotgun jab, probing jab, but it's all the above. You know, if he could stick it in the hard when he has to, he can fence with it when he has to, he could probe with it, he could go up and down, in and out. You know what I mean? He can split entry, he could slide off, he could throw away shot with it. You know, he can hook off, he can, use the touching with a jab, turn the Russian behind it, turn with a jab, shoot the off a different thing. Had to have a lead hand. And that's not even bringing the hook into the equation of the lead hand, or the uppercut.
All right, once you start mixing that in there, it's over.
Old timers, boy, they paint a picture with that. They hit you with so many lefts, you beg them for the right. You know what I mean? Them guys knew how to place the shots. They knew how they understood the importance of timing and accuracy. Because power and speed is a great attribute, but timing can beat speed, and precision and accuracy can beat power. So they gotta place their shots. The hardest shot to hurt you is when they hit you in the right spot. You and I have both been in, all of us, everybody's in boxing, been in the ring, got hit with a shot, and you're like, damn, she wasn't hard, but damn, it hurt. And then you get hit with a harder shot, like, oh, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Because they place it, you know what I mean?
Punch
like
placing.
a jab to the body. A jab to the body is really a hard body shot disguised as a jab thrown from long range. That's why we call it the needle. You stick it a couple in that like a take all that out. Hit a guy with a good shot to the body, boom, keep him tender with that jab underneath. The needle. Pop. Stab him.
They don't want to feel that thing after a while. Them hands start to come down.
Absolutely. Then you got some guy like Kovalev, he'll punch his jab go in your stomach, come out. You know what I mean? He'll impale you with that joint. He throw the throwaway shots up top to close the distance and bring his back leg in, and then wow, take them toes in the canvas and stick that joint right through you. Well, before he got all, the end of his career, whatever happened to him,
Right. Yeah, man. So, Billy, man, if you had to pick top 3 guys from Philadelphia, who's your top 3 in history? If you need 5, I'll give you 5.
Of all time?
Yeah.
Of all time or currently?
No, of all time.
All time. My mentor, late Muscle Mozart, so he was a phenom, but he got a detached retina when he before he fought Bob Montgomery for the title, because he knocked Bob Montgomery out in a non-title bout in 2 rounds in Shy Park out 22nd Lehigh. It's not there anymore. It's a big church now, but he knocked him out in the 2nd round there, and then back then he fight for the title. That was a non-title bout, so they in the return bout he fought for the title, but he already had a detached retina. And who else? Joe Frazier. Obviously, you gotta love Joe Frazier. Who don't love Joe Frazier? He was a truth finder. If you were truly in shape, he'd find out. If you truly wasn't, he truly exposed you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I remember the kid. We go to the gym to spar, and he was always pull us to the side and tell us different things, like show us how to turn a hook and the cross arm defense, and how to squat and throw the shot instead of rolling. You know what I mean? Things like that. And then he would tell us it's better to hurt in the gym than hurt in the fight. Words to live by. You know what I mean? Those are words to live by. Number 3. Who would be number 3? Well, you said I could get 5, right? So number 3 would be Tom Stockton, fan from the 20s. They said he had probably the best jab in boxing. Couldn't bust an egg, but he'd box your socks off. There's a story about how Jack Dempsey was fighting Gene Tunney, and they needed sparring, and he was doing camp down in Ma Birds in Pleasantville. It's not there no more, but it was a training camp. So they drove him out from South Philly, drove him over there, and he was boxing with Jack Dempsey had brought all the photographers and all that stuff, and he figured they were going to walk through Tommy Lockman. Tommy boxed his socks off, gave him a brush job. You know what I mean? Obviously, needless to say, he didn't get to keep staying there as a sparring partner. He got sent back, but they said, but this guy can box his socks off. Then number 4 would be Meldrick Taylor. I really like Meldrick Taylor. You know what I mean? When we was kids, I used to watch him. We was in the same gym for a while, and I used to watch him. Man, he would run off these combinations, like 4 or 5 punch combinations, slide over and come back with 4 or 5 more. I was like, damn, beauty. And there's so many of them. I guess number 5 would be Jolton Jeff Chandler, bantamweight champion in the world and International Boxing Hall of Fame. There's a real interesting side story to that. He had a friend he was in South Philly. He had a friend of his that was boxing. He said, "Yo, man, why you don't come past the gym?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, "Nah, come past the gym." So he finally graduated high school and went past the gym. He was like 19 years old. So he went to the gym and he started training and he liked it. So he went to the gym in October and they turned him pro in February. So it was like 4.5 months. And he only had 2 fights. He fought the week he fought to beat him. The end of the week he fought Johnny Carter, which was also from South Philly. He was like 4 or 5-time national champion. Won the AAU, the gloves, all that stuff. And he's like, damn, I did so good against this guy. I might as well just turn pro. So they turned him pro and he became the bantamweight champion in the world and the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Remember? Great story.
Man, that's a list, man. We was waiting for Bernard Hopkins, but he never got mentioned in the top 5. But that's all right, though. Philly got a lot.
Yeah, I was going to put Bernard on there.
Let me answer my man Joshua
Bernard,
Tate.
I would have put him on there, but
Big shout out to Joshua Tate for the super chat. When is somebody ready to fight amateur? I'll answer this, and then Billy, I'll let you answer after. But for me, when he's ready, when he's able to defend himself, what I like to do is I'll take a kid who has limited experience. Let's just say I've been training him for 6 months to a year, maybe a year, and I take him out to spar guys who got 1 amateur fight, maybe 2. And if he's able to defend himself, if he's able to handle himself in that situation, then typically I'll let him fight. But he has to be able to at least defend himself. That doesn't mean that he has to dominate. That doesn't mean that he has to beat up the other guy. But I need to see that he's able to be in that ring, competitive with a guy with a couple of fights, 1, maybe 2 fights, because most of the time when you go to these amateur shows and you're having 1 amateur fight, that's typically what you're going to fight. You're going to fight a guy with 1 to 3 amateur fights. So what I'll do is I'll test him out, bring him to a few different gyms, let him spar. And then once I see where he's at, if he's defending himself well, if he's in shape, he's able to complete the rounds without, trying to run out the ring because he's so tired, he's ready to, you're ready to fight. So if I'm speaking to you, Joshua, if you can handle yourself in the ring with a guy with 1 or 2, 3 fights, if you're in shape, you're not getting tired, you should be ready to go. What's your thoughts, Billy?
Sounded bad to me.
Say that again. Connection's a little funny.
Sounds about right to me. You hit the nail on the head.
Yep. Thank you, Joshua, for the question, man.
It sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I got you. You're a little delayed, Billy. That's so. Every once in a while, you a little delayed. So, I'm just letting you know we mix up. That's why.
Oh, okay. Man, we in the Badlands. We lucky we even got Wi-Fi.
Thanks, Coach Anthony. I learned a lot on your videos, shadow boxing, footwork, movement, and punching combinations. I feel more confident now. Some other videos also, I study them and practice. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for watching the channel. And as you can see, I'm trying to bring as much value, especially with Q&As, bringing my man Billy Briscoe on here, letting you guys hear the kind of conversations me and Billy have in private all the time. This is something that me and Billy, I've been on the phone with Billy. Billy, we've been on the phone literally for sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours talking boxing. And some of our conversations have been legendary. I learn a lot from you. We have great conversations. And we go back and forth. We talk about fundamentals. It's almost like we're sparring each other through words, talking to each other. And I thought it'd be real dope to bring you on here so people can actually hear you speak. You know what I mean? I think this is like a little gem that they don't realize I'm giving them right now. You feel me?
Yeah.
Can't feed steak to a baby though, right?
No, sir. No, you can't.
All right. Let's see right here.
If you had to name your top 5 fighters from Philadelphia, who would they be?
Man, Billy, I'm not a Philadelphia historian like you. You know what I mean? So I would. That's why I asked you. You know, for me, the guys I know from Philadelphia that stood out the most was you know, obviously Bernard Hopkins, because that's the era I grew up in. So for me, the fact that he held the title for so long at middleweight and he defended it so many times, um, you know, he was a big impact for me coming up watching boxing. I thought Bernard Hopkins did a fantastic job. And of course, Meldrick Taylor, one of my favorites. Like you said,
Absolutely.
he could run those numbers. He could run those combinations. You know,
Absolutely.
Meldrick Taylor was fantastic. You know, you can't forget about James Tone. I mean, not James Tone. You can't forget about Joe Frazier. I mean, Joe Frazier. I mean, there's a freaking statue of Joe Frazier right now in Philadelphia because of what he impacted Philadelphia with. You know, so Philadelphia just has. Oh, and my man Georgie Benton. I mean, Georgie Benton got to be on there. I got to give Georgie Benton on there because
You
Georgie
got to put
Benton.
Georgie on there.
You got to have Georgie, right? Because
If you
Georgie's
would have
one of
gave
the
me
guys.
10, I would have put. If you would have gave me 10, my next 5 would have been Georgie, Bernard Hopkins, Danny Garcia, and Turbo Tim Witherspoon would have been the other 5. You know what I mean?
Right. George Benton's an inspiration for me because he was one of the guys who, you know, made that slick Mayweather style that we all love so much. And he was a fantastic trainer and a guy who got behind, you know, Pernell Whitaker, who's another top guy in my, you know, my history book. So Georgie Benton's got to be up there. So right now, who do I got? I got Bernard Hopkins. I got Bernard Hopkins, Joe Frazier, Meldrick Taylor, Georgie Benton. And if I'm gonna go for one more guy from Philadelphia, damn, you know, it's gonna be man.
What
I
about our
guess
man Danny Garcia? He too champion.
who? Danny Garcia.
Yeah, 2 division world champion.
Yeah, Danny Garcia deserves his slot, I guess. You know, I'd have to just do a little bit more research. But you know what's crazy? Because Danny Garcia, if this sounds like irony, doesn't fit the mold of the Philadelphia style. Kind of like the custom model style that we talk about. You know what I'm saying? But he's a dog, so you got to put him in there.
But you know, then they see how he box his ass off. Yeah. In the amateurs, he had skills. He could really box. I mean, he was Olympic alternate. You know, I thought he got robbed in the Olympic trial before the Javier Molina kid. I mean, first Dynamite fought him, and they you know, Dynamite in that fight was close, and then when Danny had him, Danny was up, and then after the 3rd round, they just stopped counting punches for Danny and let this boy come along and put a couple punches together, and they gave him the decision. But you and I both know USA boxing is all political. They know who the guys with money behind them, but you know, it is what it is. But he can fight. It's just, you know, when he started as a professional, he kind of fell in love with his power a little bit and stopped working on the setups and, you know, setting it and things like that, you know. But he had an uncanny ability to punch in between shots under the heat of fire. You know, that's you really can't teach somebody. They gotta have. I mean, you teach them, but they don't have that special ingredient. The recipe ain't gonna come out right.
Was there any other good Latino fighters out of Philadelphia that you could think of besides Danny Garcia? Besides Gabriel Rosado, of course. Besides the guys that we know modern day, any old school guys?
On the world level, no, not on the world level. On the club level, there were some good guys. You know, like this guy named Willie Rivera. He was a good fighter. He fighting. He got a job at the Union right now. He's been doing that 30 some odd years. Yeah, he was a good guy.
Somebody asks, Is Billy a fan of the custom model style? I know you kind of briefly touched on this already, but are you a fan of the style, Billy?
As the style per se, with like that, you know, the peekaboo with the hands up high, square. And no, I'm not a fan of that stuff, but I'm a big fan of Customado's philosophies and training protocols, because he had things like he would say you drill a fight and you make him do it right so much he couldn't do it wrong when he wanted to. Then he had sayings where like a professional fighter has to learn how to hit and not get hit, and at the same time still be exciting. You got to be clever, you got to be smart and not get hit. When you can do that, then you're a fighter. And then he had, you know, things like, you know, he would tell fighters to always put yourself in a position where you could hit him and he can't hit you. That's what the art and science of boxing is all about, and a lot of other things. I'm a big fan of his work, but just not that style per se.
Right. He had some great quotes, man. That's without a doubt.
Yes, he
Yeah, legendary
yes
quote.
he did. I studied a lot of stuff, you know, over the years.
And he understood the mental part of boxing. You know,
Yeah.
he understood the fear. He was one of
Another
the
thing that he did. Absolutely. That's what I was just about to say.
not too many guys. You know, a matter of fact, you don't hear guys talk about that very often anymore, if ever.
No, but he was one of the few guys that would actually tell a guy like, "Who's your best friend?" You know, back wherever you're from. Jose. No, your best friend was Frankie Fear. There's no shame in that. Best friend, it's just sharp. You know, but you gotta like control. Fear is like fire. You know, if you let control fire, you could cook with it, heat your house, do many different things. But if you let fire control you, it'll burn up you and everything else around you. You know, he was a big guy on teaching fighters how to learn to control their emotion. Guys don't do that no more. You know, you tell a fighter, don't be scared, you'll be fine. But he's deep down, he might not feel he got that anxiety and attention. You know, but Cuss actually sit there and you know, he was a very good at psychoanalyzing. You know, he was like the Sigmund Freud of boxing.
And not only that, though, you tell a guy now, you know, it's okay to deal with fear. You know, they get very defensive. They'll sit there and act as if you're disrespecting them. You know what I mean? It's like the guys are very touchy now. You know, unless you have this guy from when
they may look, I ain't scared. I ain't scared.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you know they're scared.
Absolutely. You know, Jesse Hart's pop, Cyclone. Well, Cyclone, when he lost it, I think it's a guy that had his contracts. I don't know how that went down. I think maybe sold it or something like that. Sold contract to these guys from up in New York. So they took the contract, and I could be wrong on that thing with the contract, but I know this part is true. They took him up to New York and they had him up there with Customato, and Customato was training him and told him, "You lack focus." He said, "You know, you lack concentration and focus." He said, "You know, you got to learn how to focus at the task at hand." He said, "Concentration is a skill, just like a jab. You got to work to develop it." So he got a chair, and he put a chair like against the wall, and he took a piece of tape and he put tape on the wall and told him, "I want you to stare at that tape. Focus on it. Laser-like focus." He said, "Man, Cuss had a man for like 2 hours staring at that tape." And I said, "Did it work?" He said, "Absolutely." He thinks very, very highly of it. He thinks very, very highly of Cuss. He told me a lot of things, you know what I mean? He's a great guy. Hope he's doing well.
Right.
Haven't heard from him in a while.
Right. Yeah, a lot of old school tricks that the new school could learn from. That's without a doubt.
Absolutely. You know, you and I both know how many fighters we go in the gym and they hold a conversation, they talking. Nah, man, you got to develop that switch when you walk in the door. Boom. Okay, I'm here to work. Boom. Focus on the task at hand. If you're working out, you can shoot the shit. You know, shoot the breeze with the guys in the gym. But you're there in that gym. You're there to work. You got to develop that laser-like focus, concentration. You know, and when you focus on the task at hand, because you can't afford to get distracted in a fight. And it all goes back to training, how you fight, how you train. Good habits are formed in the gym, good habits and bad habits. You want to form as many good habits as possible and eliminate as many bad habits. You know?
Right.
And that's one of the good habits you definitely want to. Because the punch you see coming is a hell of a lot better than the one you don't. Because the one you don't is the one that gets you. You know what I mean?
Right. That's the one that hurts.
And it only takes a split second. There's two kind of people in boxing: the quick and the dead. You know, the only two kind of people: the quick and the dead. They have to decide what they want to be.
Right. Man, I think we should end it in that quote right there. There's only two types of people in boxing: the quick and the dead. Decide who you want to be. Billy, I think that's it right there. I don't know if you can come back after that.
All right, brother.
You already know the deal, Billy. Thank you so much for chiming in. I'll hit you up later.
Sir, good talking to you.
Right. That's my man, Billy Briscoe. Ladies and gentlemen, man. Oh, man. You know, Billy is one of those guys, real crafty with the words. Wordplay is insane. Like, when I first met Billy Briscoe, man, I was just like, say it again? No, say that again? Because he talks so fast. You know what I mean? And he got so much knowledge. It'd be like, do, 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 do. And you got to be like, no, run that back. Yo, hold up. Okay. And then he's like an encyclopedia when it comes to like the history of boxing. He'll tell you stuff about, you know, the 1930s and all that type of stuff. Earlier than that, you know what I mean? Just a great person to have, you know what I'm saying, on the team as far as like a guy to speak to. I really value my relationship with Billy Briscoe, and that's why I brought him on here for you guys to get a little piece of that. You see what I'm saying? To get a little piece of that, man. Super J. Cole fan. Wow, amazing wisdom there. Absolutely. Sandy B said, thanks, guys. Yeah, for sure. He's a cool dude. Definitely very knowledgeable guy. Guys, you already know the deal, man. 75% off the CA Power Hour. If you want to support me, that's a great way to support me. But at the same time, invest into you. It's not like you just giving me something. I want you to get something in return. So if you guys want, you already know the deal. My man right here said, when is Tevin Farmer fighting, coach? Tevin Farmer, right now is just dealing with a few political things. He actually put a post on his Instagram today. If you want to check it out and read what he wrote a long paragraph. Basically just letting people know that it's a political thing right now going on, and boxing is not an easy sport. Like my man Billy Briscoe would say, hard way to make an easy buck. You know what I mean? It's not something that you just pick, and you don't just pick fights and fight. You know what I mean? It's like there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and right now he's dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Right now he's dealing with that, man. My man Super J. Cole fan said that was a treat. For sure, you already know. Billy the Prophet. It's my guy right there, man. I'm glad you guys enjoyed his time on here. That was my goal for you guys to you know what I mean, experience some of that. Can you ever get Tevin Farmer here? Yeah. I can get Tevin on here, man. You know, it's just we're all busy. You know what I mean? I'm busy. You know, Tevin's busy. We're all doing our own thing right now until we figure out more of what's going on with Tevin. But yeah, Tevin's my boy. If I really want to get him here, I'll get Tevin here. I got some other stuff coming up, man. I'm going to Jamaica. A couple of hours. Honestly, I didn't even tell you guys. But I'm going to Jamaica. So I'm gonna be in Jamaica. So be on the lookout for some videos from Jamaica, man. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna bring my laptop with me. I might do it live in Jamaica with some palm trees behind me and you know some nice water. Anybody from Jamaica in the building? Who knows anything about Jamaica, man? I'm gonna definitely go to Jamaica. I'm trying to keep myself up. I'm gonna hop on that plane and go right to sleep on that thing. But yeah, man, we'll get Tevin Farmer on here for sure. We'll definitely get him on here. What's a good boxing stance? A good boxing stance is you know, you have several variations. You got the hands up, obviously, right? You got more of a half a man. You got the Philly shell. You got the toe heel alignment. So, yeah, yeah, you have several things, but to start off with the basic toe heel alignment, elbows in, chin tuck, hands up high. That's a good way to start. I got a video on it on my YouTube channel. You can always go ahead and check that out. Looks beautiful there. My parents went there for their honeymoon. Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. I'll be in Jamaica a couple hours. So we'll see. I'll tell you how beautiful it is. I'm gonna bring y'all with me, man. That's what that hopefully the internet service is good. Bring y'all with me, man. Y'all can come hang out with me out there. You know what I mean? Hey, coach, is it ever advisable to try to counter a right hand with a left hook as their okay? Let me try to read this slowly. Hey, coach, is it ever advisable to try and counter a right hand with a left hook they are throwing, similar to George Misable tried to do against Kamaru Usman? I did not see that fight, but yes, you can try to counter the right hand with a left hook because there's something called the check hook, right? So when a guy throws the right hand, you can try to get that hook over the top of the right hand. You can pivot, or step out, similar to a Cuban that we talked about in the past, right? Drop the rear shoulder back. As he's throwing the right hand, you just drop back, drop those two knuckles on the top of the head. So you have options. But yes, you can time a right hand with a hook, but it's a timing shot because if you don't drop back, if you don't do it in the right position, that right hand will beat the hook because a straight line always beats a hook shot. Well, let me not say always, but it can beat the hook shot most of the time. So you have to make sure you take precautions, put the catcher's mitt there, drop the rear shoulder, turn the knuckles over, little things, little tricks that we'll talk about a little bit more in the future. But the check hook is one of the counters to a right hand for sure. My man said Mayweather versus Hatton. Absolutely. Yo, why is this the question of the night? What do you think about the Mike Tyson's peekaboo style? We just spoke about this so many times, Spiritual TJ. I know you're probably just logging in. I see you got is that the Ireland flag? I'm not sure. Italian, I don't know. But either way, we've answered this like mad different times. So you're going to have to go back and watch the live. Watch Billy Briscoe's opinions on it. Watch my opinions on it. But overall, Mike Tyson's a legend. So solid style for Mike Tyson for sure. You know what I mean? So that's that. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else y'all got. Hey, coach, is self-defense incomplete without sparring? So if you're asking me, can you learn self-defense without sparring? My answer is going to be yes. You have to spar. There's no way that you're going to be able to pull this stuff off if you haven't tried it in simulation, right? Simulation will be sparring. You have to be able to see if you can actually pull these moves off in real time versus real people before you go ahead and try to utilize them in a real situation. So, I'm going to say yes, you need to spar. Sparring is key. That's where you find out the truth about yourself. That's where you find out the truth about if you're actually able to pull a technique off. It's easy for you to watch videos, easy for you to shadow box, easy for you to hit the bags and all this stuff and think that you could do this stuff. But you don't know until you apply. You always hear people say what they would do. You don't know what you would do until you're in that situation. And sparring is the closest thing you're going to get to a situation where you're going to actually see, how you're going to react. You know what I mean? You're going to find out how you take a punch. You're going to find out how your timing is. You're going to find out where your power is at. You're going to find out a lot. You're going to get a lot of answers. So, you need to spar, hands down, without a doubt. My man said, thanks for the answer. Masvidal did not have any defense for the right hand and was too slow counter, so he got KO'd. But good to know it can be used like you said. Yes, absolutely. The hook can definitely counter the right hand. Hey, Coach, hope you're well, my brother. Thank you, bro. I'm doing good. I hope everything's well on your side. Man, we've been on here for 2 hours and 20 minutes, man. Should I keep going or should I dub this? Yo, check it out, though. I mean, damn, it's about to be 3 in the morning here on the East Coast, 2:52. I'm leaving for a flight in a couple hours. I might put my head down for a little bit, you know what I mean, just to try to charge up a little bit before we get on this plane. My man Trent Jolly, hey man, thanks for teaching me boxing. You really helped me. I'm glad that the videos are helping. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the YouTube channel. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the courses, man. You know, so my goal, man, is just to keep on providing value. And I got a lot of stuff coming real soon, man. Give me another 60 days max for another major announcement. You know what I mean? I got something coming. Believe me, I got something coming for all my people out there. That's without a doubt. But yeah, man, I'm going to go ahead and promote this one last time, and I'm going to get out of here. As you already know, UCA Power Hour gets 75% off all the courses. I also got the CA Party 75, which is going to be on the website. If you missed that, if you missed this, I'm probably going to leave it on while I'm in Jamaica, and then when I get back, it's over. I said that I was going to end the 75% off after 4th of July. Look, it's a week later. I still got it on there. The reason why I still got it on there is because once I take it off, I got to keep my word. I got to keep my word and keep it off. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take it off yet, because if I take it off, that thing gone. I'm a man of my word. When I say I'm taking it off, I'm taking it off for good. I never gave you a time that I was going to take it off, though. So I left it on a little bit longer. Might let it rock the weekend. I don't know. We'll see what the energy feeling like. You know what I mean? You see my man right here said, thanks again for the stream and all the resources. Helped me out a lot when I was just getting serious, especially. That's what's up, man. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys for showing support. You guys are the ones that inspire me to keep going. So thank you so much. And yeah, I think we're just gonna end it like this, man. You know, I want to thank Billy Briscoe for hopping on. I want to thank everybody who came on and asked questions. We went on for almost 2.5 hours, man. Crazy. You already know, man. I think that we're good for today. I think that we're good today. You already know, man. And you're getting like a 10-for-1 right now. This is boxing. This is the beauty of the sport. This is what makes you a pugilist, okay?